I'm going to provide you with a brief overview of the clinical observation so that you can get started on this right away. So on ReggieNet, you can find all of these documents under Resources and Materials, and I have a bunch of documents that will just take you through the specifics of what you'll be doing for these observations. So on one of the forms, it's the overview of clinical observations and report. Here it tells you that in order for you to fully understand the developmental periods of childhood and adolescence, you will conduct 9 observation hours. You can complete these hours with online videos or can organize to observe at a site that serves children or adolescents. So what's important to know is that you're doing a total of 9 hours, and they need to be spread across pre-K through 12th grade so that you see all of the different developmental levels. So you'll observe approximately 3 hours from the preschool to 5th grade range, 3 hours in more of the middle school level, and then 3 hours at the high school level. You will be using these observation notes to then create a clinical report about what you see and tying in the theories that we learn in class. So your notes are worth 10 points of this project, where 60 points come from the report, but they are necessary in order to pass the class. So they do not need to be typed. Usually it's easier if you are submitting them, then you don't have to scan things in. But you can write them out and then scan them into the computer to upload them to me, or you can just take notes on your computer and just save it as a Word document. If you are writing them out, make sure they are legible so that I can read what you are writing. And make sure you include the grade level and subject on each of those. In the observations, you'll cover cognitive, social and emotional, and physical development that you observe in these videos or at a site. Further down this document, you'll find the rubric, and at the very end of the rubric, there is information related to your observation notes. Above it is just for the actual report, but at the very bottom it talks about the observation notes. So in order to get full points for this section of the project, you need to make sure that 9 hours are included, that you have clearly dated them, and you have the grade level on there, and to make sure that the length of notes is appropriate for the type of observation or the duration that you are watching. So having 3 comments for an hour observation clearly would not signify to me that you have actually watched and processed the information. Making sure all domains of development are addressed, which I'll show you what those are. Notes are clear and legible, and also making sure that your notes match what you then write in your paper. So you need to make sure you have it written down in order to use it for your report. So when you go to write your report, you can't just start pulling things out of nowhere if they're not lining up with the notes that you've provided for me. Also, in this folder on ReggieNet, I have a document that's called TCH 210 Observation Video Links. And this is where you'll find a little bit more detail on the observations, as well as all of the links to the videos you can watch online. So just a review up top, it just talks about that you're going to be doing 9 hours of observations. And here are different links to sites that you can use. So of course, if you are going out to a school setting, that's fine, but make sure you're also observing across grade levels. So if you have access to, a kindergarten classroom for an hour or 2, that's fine, but make sure you're also then taking time to either find locations with older children or that you are watching these videos. So all you have to do is open up these links and go to the sites. For some of these, the U-High videos, so this is a U-High video down here, and this is a Metcalf video. Those are from our laboratory schools on campus. And they're a little bit easier to click into, whereas the other ones you have to kind of flip through a couple pages, but there are videos attached to them. The U-High ones are about 15 minutes long, and the other ones are usually around 30 minutes. So anything that's like 20 minutes, just round up to 30 minutes. Anything that is 40 minutes or above, just round up to an hour. So just make sure that if you are going out to a location to do observations, that you do have approval from a teacher or a principal that is okay with you doing that. Otherwise, all online videos are completely fine to use. Okay, so I'm just going to open up one of these links, and it takes us now to videos that were created by Metcalf. So you can start to sort through them. You can see the video time that they have listed for each. The younger levels are a bit shorter just because we know children's attention span is not that long. but you can look for different types of lessons, different subjects, and the grade levels. So we'll go ahead and just click on a science video of a grade 6 class. And it should just pull up the video for you. So what you'll do is you'll just go ahead and you'll start watching the video, and as you're watching you can pause and take notes on your computer, or you can be writing them down, but you're going to be writing down anything you see related to cognitive development, so that means anything related to thinking, problem solving, any of those processes. You're going to look at physical development, you're going to look at motivation of students, you're going to look at their social and emotional interactions, as well as the classroom environment. And as you're observing, really anything goes. So there's no, anything that you see you can write down. You can decide later whether you're using it or not, but the more detail you provide in your notes, the easier it is to write your report. So you will be watching these videos, and you can also use a document I have on there called Things to Look For in your clinical observation. So especially the first couple of observations you do, it's really hard to really know exactly what you want to write down or look for. So this document helps you and kind of probes you with some questions of what you might see in the classroom. So for physical development, children's height, weight, and body shape, any evidence of puberty, fine motor skills, gross motor skills, and any physical activities that they are doing in the classroom. It also takes you through things that you might write down for cognitive development. So what does it talk about related to their cognitive stages, what they're able to do, drawing on prior knowledge, attention span, types of learning activities, ways in which the teacher is helping them learn or other students are helping them learn. And it also has ideas of what you can write down for social and emotional development. This is really overwhelming at first because it's so much information, and it's really based on what you'll be learning throughout the semester. So it is important to try and stagger your observations a little bit. So the first couple you do, we haven't learned about the theories attached to social and emotional development, and you really haven't learned about the different cognitive stages. So you're just going to have to try to do your best, but as we move forward in the semester, you'll really kind of be able to hone in on what you should be writing down. But I do suggest that you print out this form and have it with you as you're watching the video, because it will really help guide your thinking of what you should be looking for. So I also went ahead and just did some example notes. So I watched part of this video and I just started to write down things that you might consider listing in your observation notes. So I made sure to write, it's the 6th grade, the subject is science. I observed it on, this isn't the actual date, but you could write down the date you observed it and then how long it was. You'll also record this in a log that I'll show you in a minute. But for physical development, I wrote, students appear to be of average height and weight. Even though students are seated, females appear to be taller than boys, and just kind of their physical stature. There are no signs of obesity or physical disabilities in the classroom. Most students are thin and do not appear muscular at this stage. A few girls are more muscular and have an athletic build. No signs of puberty. The boys' voices have a higher pitch, and girls are not showing signs of chest development. And then for also physical, you can list anything related to motor skills. So, students can raise their arms without difficulty and have control over arm movements. Like for fine motor skills, they start using protractors later in the video, so all students are able to use small muscle movements to hold and manipulate the protractor. So those are areas of physical development that you can record. So for cognitive development, I started to think about how the teacher is helping them cognitively and also what they are showing of their cognitive ability. So the teacher asks students to discuss what they already know about the topic, so she's drawing on their prior knowledge. She helps them review what they have already learned and asks them to share their ideas. Many students raise their hands to share ideas. For example, one boy said, and it really is helpful if you can even write down verbatim what you hear students say. That becomes really helpful in your report to bring out main points. The teacher has the students repeat a series of words written on the board. The students did this in unison, and so I also wrote kind of as a side note there, maybe they have done this before. I don't want to make assumptions here, but just to speak to the fact that they did it in unison and seemed very comfortable with it in the way they recited it. For social and emotional, this can be anything related to their own emotional regulation, the emotions they express, as well as their social interactions. So most students are able to stay seated with their eyes on the teacher, which you will not often see in younger grades. A few students are fidgeting. One girl stands up to fix her bag. Students wait to participate. They do not interrupt other students who are speaking and wait with their hands raised. One boy is playing with a wristband during the lessons. His eyes are on the board, but he actively pulls on it throughout the lesson. And then thinking about motivation, how many people are volunteering, if it's differently, like the people in the front were volunteering more than people in the back. And then also the classroom environment, anything you see, how desks are arranged, what the room looks like, anything that's on the walls, all of these things are important to note. Please also take a look at the observation versus inference page, which just helps you think through what you should be writing down, because I want you to write down exactly what you see and not exactly infer. So I don't want you to write down like, students look bored, students seem smart. I want you to really write down just exactly what you see. So a student's head is rested on his desk, he yawns, he's looking away, looking at the out the window instead of looking at the teacher. So that's actually would speak to boredom, but you've actually written down exactly what you see. And so please go through this document to make sure that you can see the difference between an observation and an inference. And once you have conducted the observation, I need you to record it on a log. So at the end of the summer session, the way that I know that you've done your 9 hours is by this log. So you're going to be recording the dates you did observations, how long the observation was, and you're also going to put if it was an online video or where you did the observation, grade level, and subject. So, you know, and if it's, 20 minutes, just round up to 30 minutes. If it's like 45, 40, just round up to an hour.